Why do you do what you do? Ever wondered? Why do they do what they do? Not just the lovely, random acts of kindness stuff we do, but the mean and nasty, admit-it-to-no-one stuff. And why do some human beings see fit to inflict the worst kinds of atrocities on other human beings? Is there a simple reason? Well, yes, actually, there is. A single reason. A perhaps unsatisfactory reason, and maybe it's a stating the bleeding obvious reason, but there is a reason, and that reason is... This is Sonderlust with Steve M. Nash, offering an uncommon perspective on the human being experience. An invitation for you and I to blame and shame less and to listen more, and to see what comes from doing that. Episode 6, Just Actions. The uncomfortable one about how all actions are justified by someone. Quotes. 1. Most people, when directly confronted by evidence that they are wrong, do not change their point of view or course of action, but justify it even more tenaciously. Even irrefutable evidence is rarely enough to pierce the mental armour of self-justification. Carol Tavris. 2. For some of the large indignities of life, the best remedy is direct action. For the small indignities, the best remedy is a Charlie Chaplin movie. The hard part is knowing the difference. Carol Tavris. Everything you've ever done, every mistake you ever made, every grand plan, all of it justified, reasonable and deserved in that moment. That's the contention here, the conceit if you will. Yes, that time you cheated in a relationship and it all went horribly wrong. Yes, that time you took pleasure in hurting someone. Yes, that time you got angry and completely lost it in front of everyone. Yes, even that time, the next day when you promised it will never happen again. You just can't act otherwise. It's impossible for you to do something you don't want to do. If you can't justify it, you can't do it. Introducing the you that feels shame, the you that feels guilt, the you that is angry at the one that made me do it. There's also the you that feels humbled too, if you'll but notice. The you that just doesn't understand, the you that tries to hide. Yes, it might have looked like drunken temptation. It might have felt like aggravated rage. It might have seemed that there was no other choice. But it was you, acting in a justified way. You will justify anything if you want to. This is how you work. This is your modus operandi, what makes you tick. Even familiar feelings like impulse, addiction and habit go unchallenged by you, out of a reasoned, that's just how I am justification. Can you see? And what you are able to justify changes from day to day, moment to moment, from lying is never okay now to I can't tell him that then, from I do on your wedding day to I want a divorce later, from yes today to what was I thinking tomorrow, and on the excuses go. I didn't think you loved me, didn't think you cared. Everyone else is doing it. I deserve this. You are a complex work of art, always dodging, always weaving, always doing what's best, and always justifying. There will come times when your justifications puzzle you. What a fool I was to trust them. So much so you might start to doubt yourself, might stop believing in the myth that is you. Hello depression, hello tormented soul, or just hello. You are not who you think you are. You are not what you think, and you are most certainly not what you've done and will do. You are simply someone who thinks and, thoughts justified in that moment, acts on that thinking. Maybe you couldn't help yourself. Yes, maybe that's true. You are not to blame here. This is simply what you do. You can justify anything if you want to. Rape, murder, and any despicable act all came via a thought that was first justified. This is what humans do. This is what you do. You justify, and all made possible via the gift of thought. You're thinking, or you're thinking about someone else's thinking. Thinking that you notice, thinking that you believe in, thinking that feels justified. Prejudice, meanness, hostility, any act of inhumanity, all justified first. Can you see? There is nothing that you've ever done that wasn't first justified, accepted by you. Drop the bomb on Nagasaki, any witch hunt, genocide, homicide, suicide. All actions that were first justified. Logic helps, so does rationale, as do feelings inside you that you simply can't bear. And there you are. Deed you wouldn't normally do, done, with you left trying to explain afterwards. A very simple operating instruction, with fiendishly clever ramifications, one of which being that you can never hide from yourself and what you are capable of. Life will find a way to introduce you to yourself, to prod you into unwanted action. Until you start to see yourself for who you really are, and you are a thinking machine who lives by justified thought. And you are also a human being that can live by impersonal inspiration. You know, that place where your best ideas come from, what you're aware of when you're aware you're not thinking, that stillness within. Here's what a wise Muslim man called Rumi is alleged to have said about this. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. A world that is too full to talk about, too full to justify. So what's it to be for you? Calculation, explanations, ramifications? Or simply trusting your gut, simply listening to what feels right, trusting intuition, trusting trust? You will never be able to let go of justifications either way. Your justifications just won't feel so important to you anymore when you start listening to yourself instead. You can justify anything to yourself. You just don't have to. There is a better way. The Sonderlust Challenge. Before I leave you, here's a little something for you to ponder on during your week. Think of a time when you did something for someone else that easily surpassed both yours and their expectations of you, in a good way. Take a few moments or save this challenge for later. Thought of a time and place? Why did you do it then? Why did you help them like that? Ever done something similar since? You have been listening to Sonderlust with Steve M. Nash, all the way to the end. Thank you. For more about this podcast and to join the Sonderlust mailing list, please visit stevemnash.com/podcast.